Hello and welcome back to Assorted Beefs, where I talk about anything I want to that doesn't fit into niche tea for any particular reason. Here's the current Sonic Art Gallery status as drawn by my son. Let me know if you have any requests for the final square up there. It is a new day, and therefore we have a new, extremely disappointing convention to talk about. Yes, it is a book convention, because of course it is. Talking about Once Upon a Con, ironically named, as it turns out. The thing that really kills me about this one is a few months back, I talked about the A Million Lives book festival and all the things that didn't come to fruition with that particular event, which was held in the Baltimore Convention Center. This feels like a play-for-play exact recreation of that disaster. So Once Upon a Con was, I believe, a debut, first-time convention, but the people who were running it, these two people, supposedly have 30 years of experience running conventions, and so they did a little bit better, but for whatever reason, a lot of things, again, it just feels like a one-to-one with A Million Lives in a lot of ways. The convention was sold as a place for people to come and meet their favorite authors, find new authors, buy a ton of books, go to panels and see, expert discussion. There was a whole VIP package for attendees, and if they bought that, they had a bunch of other exclusive type events that they were given access to. There was a cosplay competition planned, and very prophetically, there was a masquerade ball. Con took place in the National Gaylord Hotel in Washington, D.C. This is a very common location for conventions. It's a very nice event space. Notably, not cheap to stay there, especially during a con weekend. If you're going to stay there for a con, you better buy way in advance, and you're still going to be spending hundreds of dollars. This is where the first red flag came up, because just like with A Million Lives, a bunch of people who were there to work the convention, we're talking anything from just basic staff who are there to just admin stuff and move things around, to people who were there as guests to speak, to present, to be on panels, etc. None of them, or at least most of them, could not get rooms. There were no rooms for them, even though that had been promised. So they got there, some of them traveled decent distances, all to find out that they had to either pay for the hotel room themselves, again, very expensive, or leave. And a lot of them just left. As you can imagine, this had a downward spiral effect. Because as a result of that, a huge number of the actual events for the convention just didn't happen. A bunch of panels, presentations, etc., just no one showed up for other ones. Some people would show up, but it was a mix of staff and actual people meant to be presenting / talking who were there. So it wasn't just the people presenting were gone, but the staff could manage. It was a mix of both. Someone reported that they saw a panel happening and it was just being moderated or managed by actual congoers, because they were just well, the staff to manage this isn't here, but these people are here. So fine, let's just do it. They just made it work. But even for the events where the right people were still in attendance and would be there, because generally so much of the con staff wasn't able to be there because the rooms that they were counting on having been paid for were not. Because of that, there was just a ton of general setup stuff that hadn't happened. Signage was missing in a ton of places. People couldn't figure out where they needed to go. Someone showed pictures of one event where there were just no chairs, so everyone was just sitting on the ground because they were well, I'm not missing it for this. Again, very deja vu with A Million Lives. Very similar thing. Reportedly, most things started late, including even just regular registration on Thursday night. Multiple people reported that when they went to check in, they were told that badges weren't available yet, they were stuck in transit somewhere. But then also because of that, badges weren't being checked. So there were safety concerns between the fact that just randos seemed to be able to get in. It didn't seem like there were good weapons checking, I'm seeing reported. People felt this was not a controlled, safe environment. VIP ticket holders got extra shafted, because a lot of the benefit of being a VIP ticket holder was that you had a lot of exclusive events for you. But again, a lot of those people just didn't arrive or didn't stay and had to leave the con because they didn't have a place to stay, or something else went wrong, they weren't paid. Or if the event did happen, it wasn't meeting the expectation of what was sold to them. There was supposed to be like a maid cafe thing, and for a bunch of people who went there, they didn't even have food, let alone the actual whole thing. And then for some people who did get food, they were literally given it on like kids' paper plates, and they didn't get any of the like photo opportunities like normally you do, like Polaroid pictures and like do cute interactions and stuff. None of that happened. There was a pub crawl thing where there were like special drinks that were supposed to be included for all the different locations, and then apparently like 2 of them at least had no clue what anybody was talking about. VIPs were also supposed to get like a swag bag worth a certain amount of money, but then it predictably only included like different paper goods and then a couple bags of tea, it looked like. Then when people complained about that, the VIPs were given these doubloons, 2 each, where they were told that they can go into the dealer room with the authors and they can trade the doubloons to any author for a book. And then the authors were told they could report back like what books they sold, and they would be reimbursed by the convention for them. Well, as you might imagine, as of yesterday, I'm still seeing authors saying there's been no word about reimbursement. All of it, all of the authors have sent their information, and that none of them have gotten anything back or any indication of when they might be paid back. Then, yes, of course, the masquerade ball. As with A Million Lives, people showed up for this. There were some cool outfits. People looked cool. While thankfully there was actually music and lighting this time, unlike A Million Lives, it still was very much like there's a lot of high school prom comparisons for the masquerade. Basically no decorations, and there was nothing immersive about it or fantasy about it. Wouldn't call it a masquerade. Continuing the theme of not really giving a shit about entry, apparently anybody who wanted to go to the masquerade ended up being able to go to, even though it was sold as a separate extra pay for event. Like you had to buy a VIP ticket or something special to get into it, but then they just let anybody in. Masquerade did have a cash bar where water was sold for $9. And I think a glass of wine was $16, someone said. Oh, and there were no 21 plus wristbands, and anybody who went to buy a drink, like nobody was carded, is what is being reported. I can't guarantee that one way or the other. And again, similar to A Million Lives, the con organizers were functionally gone during this whole time. Like people report really not being able to get in contact with them. This one was definitely very surprising to a lot of people because again, the people who were running it had a good amount of experience. So we don't have a reason yet for like what happened here. The convention did end up having to be moved. It was originally going to be in Pennsylvania, and then it was moved to the Gaylord in DC. So potentially that move had something to do with it or had some impact that might have contributed. But regardless, there was no communication. Like there was nothing to help anybody. Everyone got blindsided by all of this when they arrived. The thing that kills me the most about this, like the absolute cherry on top, is at least one author reported that they went to A Million Lives and were so disappointed and sad, and then got sent an email by the Once Upon a Con organizers directly to be like, hey, this is so awful that this happened to you. We want you to experience like a really good con, like a good book selling environment. We're going to give you a free table. And then this happened? Like, hello? Sometimes he just stares me down. I'm not sure exactly what he's going for, but he wants me to know about it. God, you can just see him fighting to think. He's trying so hard. You can do it. You're doing great, sweetie.